So I was not planning on recording this video at all, but as I was unboxing something, my energy levels reached max excitement. This is just the empty box. I'm not that careless. I'm quite careful with my things. So I'm really excited about this, and really the thing that clinched it was as I was transferring over some files to the M1 MacBook Pro 14-inch, it took me about 3 minutes to transfer 150 gigabytes worth of stuff, and the computer is really cool so far, and I just got excited about it. Because you might know, my main computer has been the base model M1 Mac Mini since January of 2021, and I really love that computer. So much so, in fact, that I sold my 16-inch MacBook Pro, which I just never used anymore. It was the Intel one. And so I've had my MacBook money just sort of set aside since February, waiting for an update. Because as much as I love my Mac Mini, and it so far has been the most powerful computer I've ever used, I'm stuck in here when I want to use it, and sometimes it's just not practical or necessarily enjoyable to just have to work in here. So for the past 7 years, this has actually been my main MacBook, which is a 2013 MacBook Pro. This is the one that I started my YouTube channel with. Overall, I gotta say, this is the best computer I've ever had, even though I think Apple qualifies it as vintage or obsolete at this point. So maybe you're like me, you're thinking of getting one of the new M1 Pros or M1 Max, and you're not coming from one of the touch bar ones. Maybe you have kind of an older generation, and that means the new one, it's just an interesting comparison, because to me, they're actually not. Oh yeah, also this is my new one. I should have mentioned that. I don't know how to make first impression videos. I'm like not a computer channel. I'm just excited about this computer on my channel. With the Mac Mini, I decided to go with the base model because I was so kind of like iffy about the M1 chips. And once I got that base model, it was incredibly powerful. It has, as I mentioned in my follow-up review, started to lag just a little bit when I'm doing lots of layers of 4K video. Then it's sort of like, it needs a little time. Then it made sense to get not the base model here, so I got the 14-inch. So this Mac is the M1 Max Mac with 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive, and the 10-core processor. So I'm literally still in the process of like downloading Final Cut and everything so that I can actually edit this video on here and see how it is to edit. But I was just getting more and more excited about this computer as I was setting it up, and that's why I wanted to make the video. I think it's especially interesting having used the 16-inch Intel MacBook for a year and a half, and then using the 2013 MacBook for many, many years. I actually got it in 2014. So this is going to be a first impressions thing. Maybe I could even throw in a little clip right here of me editing it using the 1080 webcam to tell you what the editing experience has been like. That's right, past Tom. Here's me in the future editing this video. It's been about 45 minutes. I am down to 73% battery. When I was done filming, I think I was at like 93% battery, and I've just been doing nothing but editing in Final Cut Pro, all 4K video. It hasn't stuttered at all. I think when some of the footage was processing that the fan turned on a little bit, and I kind of heard a little sound that I think might have been a fan, but I'm not sure. So far I'm a fan of the fan noise because there's not much of it. And this is the 1080 webcam with the built-in microphone. So far it's been an absolute dream. Thank you, future Tom. The silver 14-inch is basically the same size as the 2013 13-inch. So they feel very similar, except this feels much more like the, it's almost like a metal version of the white MacBooks, if you remember those. Like, that's kind of what it feels like. It's noticeably different, and I really like it. Like, it feels really nice to hold. It's literally like the same weight as this one. So if you're coming from an old 13-inch MacBook Pro pre-touch bar, you're actually probably gonna feel right at home here. But the biggest difference, of course, then we have the display. This is a Retina display, 13 inches, and now we've got the, 14.2-inch fancier display. The computer itself is ever so slightly taller, but the display is significantly bigger. And yes, there is a notch right there. We'll talk about this in my full review in a few weeks or a month or two or whenever like I really have time with the computer. I don't care about the notch. I think this is a top-notch design because the notch isn't taking away from the display. It's adding display space. So instead of having this blank spot here with the camera, now you have the menu bar up there out of the way of everything else, and then you have the rest of the display. So I'm not too concerned about the notch, and in my brief time using this computer, I don't even notice it. So it's just not an issue to me. I just don't care about it. What I do care about is all of the great stuff like this. The same thing my computer from 7 years ago has. SD and HDMI and all of these things that I'm trying to use all the time, but also super fast Thunderbolt USB-C ports. Also, of course, the return of the king, the MagSafe adapter, which is literally this part of it, works exactly the same as the old one, except that the cable itself is a braided cable, which means it's less likely to fray. And then this one came with a 96 watt adapter because the M1 Max needs a little more power. And if you didn't notice, they kind of did a hybrid thing here with the USB-C chargers that have been used for the past few years where you can disconnect the power cable. So that means if something does happen to this, you can just get a new MagSafe part and not need an entirely new adapter. That can save you a lot of money. After you bought this, you might need to be saving a little bit of money. I'll be using this mostly with Final Cut Pro, Photoshop, Motion, and Blender are probably the most intense applications that I'll be using. But so far, just in setup and file transfer and all that, I haven't heard the fans turn on or make any sounds. And I haven't actually really charged it yet. It still says it's 94%. That's just kind of what it was out of the box. The keyboard, couple answers about that. Yeah, there's no touch bar anymore. You do have full-size function keys, and then you have the Touch ID button, which is actually a physical button that presses down. The keyboard feels great, very similar to the 16-inch 2019 MacBook Pro. I don't think they changed much there. And then the black part under the keyboard is, in fact, it is metal, right? Maybe it's plastic. Actually, I'm not sure if it's plastic, and then if something happens with your keyboard, this whole piece could come out and get replaced instead of having to replace the entire top case, or if this is just anodized black aluminum. I feel like that's what they said, and it feels like either. I can't tell. It actually looks really nice though. And then speaking of things that are nice, you do have these speaker grills on the side here, and the sound on this thing is ridiculous. It has these tiny little feet on the bottom, which lift it up to allow for more airflow, but I think they also let sound travel a bit, so let's blast out some royalty-free jams right now. It's gonna be very hard for me to communicate sound quality through a video from these speakers, but if I play this royalty-free song, it sounds really good in this room. Like, it doesn't sound good for computer speakers, it sounds like good speakers. Because the Sony a7S III has 2 memory card slots, I just took out the card that I used to film that first part of this video, and it's still recording on a different memory card. So I'm filming at 422 10-bit, and now if I want to import my footage to the computer, this is my first time connecting an SD card. Ah, feels so nice. Look at that. Which, by the way, if you're somebody who uses a Sony camera and you've noticed that some of your footage doesn't preview well in macOS, if you update to Monterey, not just on the new computers, but on any computers, if you update to Monterey, then what you can do is find any old clip in Finder, press spacebar, and the clip will play. You don't have to like struggle to navigate through your clips. You can just preview them all like normal. This is an absolute game changer if you use a Sony camera or another camera that didn't let you spacebar to preview it. Okay, so the clip that I just recorded was 12 gigabytes. If I drag it over to a new folder, 45 seconds. Oh, I didn't actually stop this the right way. Took 45 seconds to transfer that, just for a frame of reference though. Let's see how long it would take to do that same transfer on the base model Mac Mini. Drag it over, ready, set, go. There we go. That took 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And again, I have been happy with the M1 Mac Mini. So that's time to start diving into this and editing this video. And then again, this is the 14-inch M1 Max. I haven't seen too many of those, so I'm very curious about how this computer will perform. I'm just so excited to have a portable, powerful computer that's also quiet, not making any noise. But you know what does make noise? Clicking that subscribe button.